What's going on, guys? Aiden Smith, Paint Your Path podcast. We got my man Joel Mercado in the building. What's going
What up?
on?
What up? What's going on?
Dude, not
How's
much,
everybody
man.
doing?
I hope everybody's doing good.
Good.
We're coming off a legendary pod with Mr. Nick Slavic. That was
Yes,
fun,
sir.
man. That was a good
Dude,
one.
I had a great time on that. That was awesome.
Yeah. He's
So,
just different, you know? And it's good too to get another perspective because we do look at things. I'm gonna be honest, I look at things from the high level, right? It's
hmm
like people talk about their businesses with me, and I straight go to numbers. I straight go to analytics and all that kind of stuff. And he kind of like brings it down to like, dude, don't forget the projects you're doing. Don't forget the humans that are there. Don't forget the relationships and training these guys up. Like that's an integral part to the growth of the industry overall. That was my takeaway, and I was just kind of like, damn, like let me have more compassion, empathy for that side of the business a little more. And
yeah,
then I think when you do that, it'll get you better to that kind of like not only understanding everything better, but just making moves that align with both parts rather than just chasing the numbers and the goals and whatnot.
I love that. Yeah, man. It's how do I word it? Like having a guy that's a vet
Yeah.
in the industry like that, dude. Like he's seen so many things change, and then just even from like when he was talking about like the pre-mixing to the
I know.
like everything he said, you're like, wow, dude, like we didn't have to deal with any of that.
Yeah.
And then to hear his perspective on that and then how the industry is, I mean, obviously he gets so much data as well, right?
Yeah.
Like he gets so much data from PCA. He sees so many different businesses and different people. Like, gosh, man, it was such a huge, I feel like, gems that he was dropping for all of us that I can't wait to hear other people's perspective off the interview because there's just things that he mentioned that I'm like, no one really talks about this anymore. So it's like
Yeah.
it's super exciting. So I'm obviously this is gonna be after, right, once we drop his episode first, but I'd
Mm-hmm.
love to hear people's feedback, and I think a lot of people aren't taking advantage of that and giving us enough feedback to bring back to the pod here, right? We're just
Yeah.
going with it and just bringing great guys on here. But if we can get some more feedback of like, hey, these are the topics I'm dealing with, these are the problems I'm
Mm-hmm.
working with, we can be using that with other guests
Yeah.
and use those questions like, hey, our viewers and listeners are saying, hey, these are what they're dealing with. What are your thoughts? Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that, get another perspective. So I definitely, as you could tell, I don't ask questions often when it comes to the pod. I like to
Yeah.
listen and kind of have a conversation, but I had to take advantage of that with Nick.
Yeah, man. Dude,
Yeah.
like, and I think too, you're dealing with a guy that just understands the history of the business, right? And
Mhm.
what's it mean, like you talked about how things were before, how things are now, and how it's the same thing, just you're swapping out different ethnic groups or, different paint providers and the way they're kind of doing things. So I thought
Yeah.
that was extremely interesting. And for young guys getting into the space that don't have too much insight into that, for them to really kind of like open their eyes to, hey, this industry's been around for a long, long time and has changed. And like, yes, economic factors don't necessarily, you know, hinder your goals and growth per se. But I
Mhm.
mean, when you understand it all and how it has played out over the last decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, at least you can kind of get an understanding of what is to come, you know? So
100%.
you're gonna have to honestly go to the PCA to learn this crap, but
Yeah, yeah,
because
man.
it's not like you can just pull up a random article and figure this out. I mean, maybe you could,
Yeah.
um, but super interesting and like just the way he takes it so serious is it
Mm.
impressed me, right? Because not only the actual craftsmanship of things, right? Like he's doing historical stuff, but the numbers, like you just said, right? And understanding, hey, I'm dealing with this in my business, but given the state of how the labor industry is, this is normal. So he's not
Yeah.
overreacting to it, and I love that he opened up because I talked to Pettis before, and Pettis was like, or Ryan Pettis, he was like, I don't think Nick Slavic runs ads. So that was important for me to ask because I'm kind of like, are you really doing all that business off of just your brand and word of mouth? So now we know it's like 75-25 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. What I think I want to highlight off of that, what you just said, it's important for people to understand he's still doing like street work, right? He's
Yeah.
still doing old school things like mailers and things that, like, guys don't think about. We do the same thing here in California. We use it's called Money Mailer. It's kind of like Valpak on the East Coast. I don't know if you guys have heard of Valpak, but they're like those coupon envelopes where they have like a bunch of coupons from other like HVAC, carpet cleaning, things like that. So, I mean, it's a prime example. I was doing estimates for my partner last week, and 2 of those money mailers I closed on the spot. It's like, and I saw it on their counter,
Oh,
right?
that's
Like,
nice.
they're all excited. They're like, I got this $500 coupon. I'm like, great,
Yeah.
you know? So, you know, they still help us. And then those are targeted areas. So just like he said, when he talks to his friend groups, they're all telling them like, hey, we stopped being so massive areas. We're actually targeting specific
Yeah.
zip codes. And that's what we do with our money mailer. Our money mailer is only for luxury homes. So they're specific by zip codes, knowing that they're higher level homes. Maybe not get the same amount of traffic, like,
But when you
would
hit,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
immediately trust building already,
Yeah.
and they're higher jobs,
ticket.
right?
Yeah.
Like each average ticket on that was like 13, 15 grand that I sold. So it's like, that's off of a coupon,
you're
right?
chasing that
Like,
old money.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
that's the thing, man. So
I'm pretty sure he mentioned newspapers too.
yeah, he did. He did.
First time we had a newspaper dropped on the market,
Yeah.
for the pod.
Thrown to the
Damn.
garage door real fast. Boop. But
Yeah, you got a guy out there just chucking them out of van.
remember Paperboy from like Nintendo days? Or am I
might
way
be.
too old?
Yeah. You're like, whoop,
Yeah, dude. So if there's a game, it was called Paperboy. It was a Nintendo game. So the whole game is him throwing newspapers at the house, and you get like points and stuff.
Okay.
So I'm helping out the older community now.
Alrighty, sounds good. But I think also what's cool is what he is doing is almost recession proof,
Yes.
right? Because now he's taking it out of the social media levers. He's like, look, most of my stuff is word of mouth and relationships and brand building, and long term, people know my name. I'm not just a dopamine fill out a form and then I'm in front of you presenting, right? He probably has so much more higher of a chance to land the job because of the credibility, right? Because he's a household name. And that takes time, that takes community work, that takes a lot of effort, right? And that's something that's like, look, if you're going to be, that could probably add to the value of your company, right? Like just like having that solid foundation, because we just interviewed a guy named David Rule from our coaching, and he bought a company with an established name, and that was a big leg up for him because now he absorbed certain platforms that had built up reviews over years and years. So all he had to do was put some money into it, activate it, revamp it, make it look a little nicer, and they were instant wins for him.
Wow.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's awesome, man.
Kevin Turner painting. My man was doing like $300K or something like that year over year, maybe a little more. And now next year, I think he's projected to do $5 million. He wants to do.
That's huge, dude. That's like, but it goes to show you what you just said, right? The foundation and the brand.
Yeah,
Dude, it's already
super
there.
slept on. Speaking of these events like PCA and all that, by the time this pod drops, Paint Biz Blitz will have dropped. I will be speaking about virtual assistants, and I hope people get a lot from it because they've helped me a lot in my entrepreneurial journey, because it's kind of like a crutch, right? It's like, all right, I don't have too much money to employ as far as the business goes to employ certain positions, right? So would it be wiser for me to maybe, as I'm making that transition, pay a little less but still have that person do that role? And if I train them well enough, they're going to be able to execute. And now my time is delegated. Somebody else is answering phones for me, doing administrative tasks. I can focus on selling, which is the most important thing overall.
Yes.
Landing jobs. And then now I have that admin support that could help me send emails for relationships, answer my phones, do all my software stuff, invoice, do that little technical stuff that it's kind of mundane and it just takes a lot of time going back and forth and all that. I can just send a quick message, set up a meeting every Monday, and we're good to go. So what we're going to be doing is helping painters not only vet that talent pool, not only help recruit them and interview them, but also train them, which is really important because we're painting specific, obviously. Well, I am. When you go into training an appointment setter, an admin with the right scripts, right software, and it's set up for a painting business, that's an instant win for you and your business.
Dude, that's huge. A lot of us aren't utilizing that enough at all. And I keep seeing that often. So I'm glad that's what you're going to speak on Paint Biz.
Yeah.
Wow.
And don't get me wrong,
So
I'm super in on like, hey, if you have the budget and can hire like an office person, because what happens is now you're bought into the culture, you're a little bit more ingrained in what the guys coming in and out, and like you can build that core from there. I'm in on that. So if you want to do it that way, totally fine. If your business is big enough, totally fine. But I'm talking about the people that are only making maybe, 40, 50, 60K a month, right? That are like, I don't have the craziest budget to employ somebody like that or have an office. So I need something right now that can help me get over the hump.
Love that. Coming up with solutions.
I mean, that's what we do, right?
Yeah, man.
And I know you got some game as well that you're going to be speaking on.
Yeah, man. So tomorrow I'm primarily focusing on what I do as like a master reset in the middle of the year, like, KPIs, things you got to look at before the end of the year, and tools that help me pretty much predict things before they happen. But we also got Ryan Pettis, who's helped me put this together. So it's my whole office. So all of our sheets, everything that we track, he took and created a whole automation system using DripJobs and Slack. So we're highlighting that tomorrow. It's saving so much time. Like you just click one button, boom, everything's just communicating automated. And, I'm so old school, like I'm like still entering everything into my sheets. And he's like, no, Joel, like I took your sheet and I automated it. And I was like, what are you doing? What? This is crazy. So then there's things that I gave him as feedback of like what I've always wanted when I was out in the field. So we created a system as well where, I don't think production's talked enough about, right? Where I feel blessed that, I come from a sales background, but when I started in the painting industry, I was only doing production. And I've had nothing but pains, right? Like, how do I automate? How do I get this to be easier and be less tasked on me?
Right.
I used to do paint orders, pay for the paint over the phone, talk to the customers, talk to the painters. The painters would call me again and I'm driving and I'm trying to make an order, making mistakes. And then, there's that anxiety that gets built up because you're just constantly on the phone.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing was orders. So we created a new program too, where it's automated that you can actually make an order through Slack. It automatically sends that form that you fill out, sheen, color, PO, everything you need, sends it right to the store. Wow. It confirms it, sends it for delivery if you have a location that can deliver for you. And it's all automated, dude. Like your office just looks at it and goes, yep, boom, good. Like Sherwin-Williams looks at it, yep, they respond. It just goes right back to the Slack channel. It's super exciting. And we finally are releasing that. So that's tomorrow we're going to release it. We have a DIY. So we have a video program that shows you how to implement all the systems yourself. So it's a lot cheaper that way. Or you can hire us and we'll have someone from our team to put it in your business. Yeah. So that's what's the new and exciting thing on our end.
Damn. And who has the time to like, I mean, if you're a growing painting business, I mean, you probably don't have the time to mess around with all that technical stuff, No. And it's like, if you can automate anything to make your life easier, like we have a simple automation with Company Cam where when we make a job or an appointment in DripJobs, it just makes us a profile on Company Cam and we just add pictures when we show up. Yep. Just that little saving 2 minutes, such a game changer. I love it. I'm in love with it. I need more. So anything we can do automation-wise, bro, especially with Slack, which is super underutilized. Yes. Right? I mean, we don't talk about that until we're making $1 million, and then we try to figure out, all right, can we stop texting the work orders and the pictures to our personal phones? Yep. Yep. So,
well, that's the coolest part, brother. You said it right? When Company Cam already sets up the profile, well, that does that for us, and then we have a thread that has all that information on Slack. So it does that with Company Cam. We have a video that breaks that down for you. It does that through, the create a card label on DripJobs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you guys have color consultants, you can literally create a color consultant tab, click the tab. So for every person that just signed up, it automatically sends them a message and says, Aiden Smith just signed up with the painting company. Please reach out to, however you guys want to automate the message to them. Please reach out to Aiden. It sends all the info to the color consultant. Color consultant now reaches out to Aiden and then puts it back to the Slack channel. It looks like these are the colors they want. This is what they want to do. Boom, boom, boom. All streamlined. And dude, this is something that we've been working on for a long time because these are the pains I've had. And of course, coaching, we see this every day. Like everyone's like, there's nothing worse than when I'm coaching someone and I see they're struggling to even use the sheets. I'm like, dude, I can't help you if you're not tracking. I don't know where your business is. Yeah. So that's why we went to this automation. I hope people start to look into it because that will take half of that battle off. And then for your coaching too, Aiden, right? Like if they're doing these automations, you don't even need to ask them their numbers. You're just getting this report sent to you, right? End of day report, boom, you can follow up with them and be like, hey, you're doing great, or no, we need to do some fixes. So it's wild, man. And then we're taking advantage of it. So,
you know what the cool thing is too? It's like we're only scratching the surface with automation. 100%. I mean, DripJobs and Tanner and them, they do a great job at making their platform extremely friendly when it comes to integrations and automation and whatnot. So for, I'd say pioneers, right? For pioneers to get out on the front lines and start to put all this stuff together and make sense of it all as experienced painting business owner and say, like you said, here are the pains I deal with, here are the mundane tasks that happen, and here are the things I'm constantly sending emails and calls and texts back. I can make a process that just fires as soon as I fill out a couple things. All right, cool, get the information, boom, boom, boom. It's going to different people. It's working the process without you having to do everything.
Yeah.
And me and you are both on the same time when it comes to getting back your time and not having to worry about these small tasks. I mean, that's everything, right? We're even using it in our coaching when we're pushing people through the CRMs and pipelines and they're getting certain emails and whatnot. Helps us tremendously because it's like if I had to, after every single call, document it, push everything through, take notes, like, bro, that's like, I want to get up and just click a couple buttons and be like, I'm done, you know?
Yeah. 100%.
So anyway, we can do that as busy painting business owners. We need to.
Yes.
That's so funny, man.
Yes.
Dude, I have a win I want to share, actually.
Yes, please. What do you got?
So it's not specifically for me, even though I probably can get to that. But one of the guys in our coaching, he had been in business 15 years. 15 years. And we were going through some like sales and like some, you know, just some nuanced things that can help in his process and whatnot. Like he wasn't providing pricing on the spot. When it came to his sales, he wasn't prepping them for the pre-close and whatnot. So he had texted me and he said, hey man, in the 15 years I've been in business, after getting on with you guys and implementing the stuff, we had our best week ever in sales. I'm just like, dude, this is what I do it for. You know? And what's crazy is this stuff is what we talk about on the pod. This stuff is what we talk about in our webinars that we posted in recent pods, what we post on our Instagrams. This isn't stuff that is like super in the back end. You have to kind of get through a paywall to get to. Like, if you really wanted to get this information, you could.
Yeah.
But most people aren't going to apply it or actually take action on it. But he did. He's reaping the rewards, and it's just like super cool to see, you know?
Dude, and the fact that you said 15 years, right? Like, look at guys that are doing it in a year because they're just having access, right? 15 years, man, you just made a change in someone's life in 1 week. Like, that's impactful. And when you can continue doing that in the industry, it's like, why not, right? Like, wow, dude, that's huge, man. Because I can only imagine, first of all, the frustration, and then second of all, how relieved.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
when he got me, he said, hey, man, I really want to dial my sales process and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, well, it actually worked with all these other things, right? It's not just what you say and how you say it. It's these other things we got to set up as well. But he did 80% of it right. It was just that 20 or 10% that we just had to just switch a little bit.
Yeah.
And got him good, man. So
wow.
Just hype awesome about that, man. I want to share that. He made a video for me and everything, so I'm like super grateful.
Wow.
Yeah,
dude, those are the wins that keep us fueling, man. I love that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then another thing, it's been a busy week because we're onboarding a sales rep. We tried before with a younger guy, and you know he's a little ambitious, so we said, hey, probably not the best time. But this one was actually our interior designer. I might have said this on a recent pod, but basically she came in, we talked. First time we met, she was like, "Yeah, I'm a designer." Got her off Facebook, just posting on a group, and she's referred. She went in first 2 color consultations, upsold both.
Mm.
Add-ons, wainscoting, different rooms, different colors, just getting them in that interior design mode, right? Second, she did the same thing, second appointment, and I said, we need to have a talk. She's like, oh, that's going to happen every time. And I'm like, we need to talk. So
Yeah.
we had another meeting. I talked to her about what I'm looking for, and I was like, I think you'd be perfect for this role. You know, God hope we continue to work together and, you know, everything goes well. But I told her, like, anything you need, we're going to set you up, and I want to make sure that you're the best you can be.
Yeah.
Same thing that, like, I was told by one of my guys and my mentors when he brought me on. He's like, I want you to be the best you can be, and everything else will be fine. So
Wow.
we're getting our uniform today. We're going in. It just feels good, you know?
Yeah, man. So, like, when you're bringing her on to Smith and Co., yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, so I love seeing you building this, because essentially I'm looking at it as like you're rebuilding a brand new business.
Yeah.
Because you're in a whole new area, right? You're seeing it. You're seeing the growth again, right? I love watching this because it's like, dude, you're starting from scratch all over again.
Yeah.
Man, like,
It's crazy.
it's super cool to watch that you're saying, I'm getting a sales rep now, and like, this is how I grab them. This is what I'm implementing. You're seeing it live time, right? Like, you know what works, what doesn't. Like, dude, that's huge.
Yeah, but here's the thing too, right? Like, I have awesome people around me that if I ever need anything, right, you're one call away.
Absolutely.
Got other people that are a call away that anything that I'm like, all right, uncharted territory, or what do you think about this, right? Maybe I'm trying to do a little differently, but maybe it's not the best route to go down just because I'm super ambitious. Maybe I need to get dialed down a little bit, right? Because I'm trying virtual quotes. I'm trying to be like pioneer, right? Like head of the game, trying to see how the market's going. But you know, even I sometimes need to get dialed in, right? A little check here and there, and it's totally fine, right? Because I am more of a, you probably noticed this by now, I'm more of a creative.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more of a, let's start, let's go, here's the plan, blah, blah, blah. But the producing and the production is kind of like where I kind of tail off a little bit. I love new energy, creativeness, and I think I need to get channeled into that long term, right? Yeah. Like, one of my buddies hit me up the other day, and he's like, hey, man, weird question. He's like, is there anything you ever wanted to do in your life that was just super peculiar? Like, weird thing. And I'm like, going down the Rolodex thoughts, things that I want to do in life. And I'm like, there's not much. Like, I'm pretty good with how things are. Yeah. And I was like, I don't, like, there's not, like, of course I want to go on, like, different vacations and stuff, but, like, there's not one thing that stands out that kind of, like, I want to achieve or do anything like that. And I was like, maybe I need a vision board, like, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just something, you know? So I was like, I kind of figured out why my mind is working the way it is right now. It was kind of weird, you know?
Interesting, huh? Well, if you don't see it, right? Sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm good where I'm at right now, so I'm gonna do what you gotta do, right? So,
and I don't know if it's where I'm at, but maybe just thinking a little bit more, because I know I want to build the Paint Pro, I want to build Smith & Co, obviously. So, like, I know the next 2 years.
Yeah.
But I think just get a little bigger, you know?
Yeah.
Think a little bit more far out and what's possible, right? Because, you know, we were talking before we got on the pod, and you were like, I went into production, I was able to sell, I don't know, you said 70K on just like callbacks and activating certain things. Those are the things that work long term. Those are the things that you can always rely on. Hence why you're super needed in your business and you're such a valuable person. But like, talk about what that looks like for you and how you kind of like lock in every single Sunday night to do your reporting and all that kind of stuff, and what that looks like.
Yeah, man. You know, every Sunday it's all about preparation, and what a lot of people don't know about me, it's like I am very obsessive. Like, I'm pretty chill. Like, you guys hear me, I don't look it, I don't sound like it, I don't say a lot of things, but internally I am obsessive. And what that means to me is this, right? Like, one thing I've learned when I step in 100%, right? Like, you mentioned what you just did in production. I crave production sometimes, because, like, when I hear people with their limiting belief systems, I'm like, dude, I've done it. Like, that's just something you believe. Let me crush it for you So you could be like, well, dang, dude, if Joel can do it, I can do it. That's what gets me excited, right?
Yeah.
So every time I put myself in the team, they always see an injection of energy. But what they don't realize is the amount of time I take to do it, the planning. And, whenever they hear the term, whatever it takes, guys just clock in, clock out, right? And it's like, listen, you always have to have an owner's mentality. Even if you don't own it, you still own your position. And I teach my people to understand, like, listen, in order to win at life, you have to own it, period. Like, that's just how you have to operate. And that's what I truly believe. And I think that's what's instilled about all of us as entrepreneurs. We understand that. And I've always been wired that way. Every job I've ever had, I acted like I owned it. Didn't matter, right? Because, like, at the end of the day, my performance mattered to me. How I can bring to the team, how I can help feed other people's mouths was based off me. So, when you mentioned that on Sundays, I'm constantly planning every Sunday. I don't miss a Sunday, right? I do my time management for 2 hours. I map out the whole week. Then I foresee issues. Whatever it is I think is a problem, I fix it now. I don't wait till Monday. Monday's too late, right? Yep. So if I got to change the schedule, if I got to change something else or direct someone from my team, or if I see a number that doesn't look so good, I want to get ahead of them. And, it's interesting. I'm in a phase in my life right now that I'm surrounded by a lot of people, and my teams are growing, and I've enabled them too much, where they have too much access to me, and then they're failing at times, right? So I want to bring this topic up because I think it's super important. I always take responsibility, right? I'm always accountable for my teams, even if I didn't even step foot into the situation. I take accountability. But I've noticed lately my teams are not doing that. And I think it's important as a leader that you have to show them why it's important. It is a detriment to your business if they don't take accountability for what they've done. Yep. And I wasn't expecting to say that on our pod right now, but it triggered something for me because lately I've been repeating myself over and over again. And I'm like, guys, like, your actions are what's getting you there. So, like, don't blame anybody else. It's your actions, what you did or what you didn't do, right? Yes, I could step in and fix it. That doesn't do anybody any good, right? And that's something that I hope any other entrepreneur listening to this, if you keep stepping in, you're hurting your team. And, I'm reading Buy Back Your Time Again, Dan Martell. And I'm on chapter 2, and what does he say? The Pareto principle. He repeated something that I always talk about. 80%, right? So I really started reflecting back, man. And, there's so many things changing in my life, and I just keep going, man, if they can perform at 80% of me, because that's that obsessive mode. Like, I'm like, they need to be like me. If they could perform at 80% of what I can do, they're good. And that's where I'm starting to shift, is that I think the expectation, I'm just driving too much, and it's burning some of the guys out. And I'm saying this on the pod because it's important. People don't say the truth. Like, they're not talking about the realities of their teams or what's going on. And I feel like it's our duty to be honest, right? And right now I'm struggling with that because, you have a standard and expectation. You step in, you can hit those goals. Can your people do that? What are the tools are they missing? So that's what I reflect on Sundays. What are they doing? What are they missing? What am I failing them as a leader? And it's that habit of wanting to get involved and take over, right? Because I know I can do it. But that doesn't mean they can, and that's what's hurting them. So it's usually what my Sunday looks like.
Yeah, and also you get that feeling of like, man, I could just nip it in the butt short term, get the goals to where I need it to be. But at the end of the day, long term, like you said, you're not setting your company and you and the relationship up for success. Yep. And you're thinking probably more of, and I know it applies to any level at the painting business, but like even sales and production, right? Whereas a lot of guys are just on the tools going back and forth, right? Like I actually talked to a guy who I thought was completely off the tools. From his content, from the way he presented himself, from the different businesses that he has, right? I thought he was off the tools. So we hopped on a call and he's like, hey man, I just had to jump in. Man, it's just I got that blue collar mentality and like I'm always just trying to stay busy. And I'm like, you're killing yourself. You're limiting your growth. You're stunning. Like, you are literally telling your guys, hey, I got it. Don't worry about it. So when they get into this pickle next time, they're going to be like, he got it. Don't worry about it. He'll take care of it. He'll step in. Like, that is not the right way to go about the business. And if I had to make that call, I would play dumb anytime I got into something like that. If it was absolutely necessary and I had to get my hands and knees to figure something out in a bind, all right, somebody's got to do it. But if you can at all costs try and stay off tools, try and get out of the actual doing the work, I'm telling you, your business will grow light years faster and more than you can ever imagine.
Yep. You're stunning the decision making that needs your decision making, right? Yep. Like, what people don't realize is that they're not paying attention to the most important parts of their business. So being on the brush, you're just not paying attention to what literally can cause a problem.
Yeah.
And then you have more issues, and then you're just making more stress for yourself. And I get this all the time. That's why, like, these discovery calls, I'm so brutally honest with these guys. I'm like, if I had an opportunity tomorrow and I had to start my painting company again, I'm not touching any brush or anything. I would be door knocking. That's free, right? I would door knock, close a couple deals, use that money. Then I would start getting leads using Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever, and start getting ads. And then I would just start building a team, right? Yeah. It's so simple. And what people do is they complicate it, and their fear of the scarcity mentality gets in the way. So it's like, get rid of the fear. Once you get rid of the fear, like, you're still going to work. Yeah. Would you rather work on the brush, or would you rather work generating income? And that's the opposite thought process I have. It's like, well, I'd rather sell. It's no different than my mentor. I don't know. Have I ever mentioned this on this pod? Like, my mentor taught me. He got mad at me one day. You're going to laugh at this. He's like, when I first moved here in San Diego, he was like, what do you mean you're moving? I was like, well, I'm moving my own stuff. And he's like, why? Mm-hmm. I was like, because I have to. Like, I have to move my own stuff. He's like, no, you don't move your own stuff. That's like you cutting your own lawn. He's like, that makes no sense. And when he got in my head, you have to remember the way I was raised, and I'm sure same as you, right? Aiden, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like, coming from where we come from, you do everything, right? Like, you do it. You handle it. You fix it. You do it. And he taught me such a valuable lesson I think a lot of painters need to hear, which is, when you're doing it, it takes away from growth, right? Mm-hmm. It's no different than yesterday. I sold a job. I finished out my day. And I was like, could you imagine if I wasn't reaching out to people and available for sales?
Yeah.
And I was doing a non-sale related task. The detriment to my business and what that is. So one thing I'll leave that section with is focus on the main thing, right? Stephen Covey says it best. The main thing is the main thing, right? Stop being distracted. Focus on what you need to produce to make you income to grow your business. And when you guys do this over and over again, you're just taking longer to get to the finish line you're trying to achieve. And I never understood that. When I bought this house, I hired a moving company. I was like, damn, this was good. It took 6 hours for 3 guys to move. Could you imagine me, my wife, and a friend doing this?
Yep.
Like,
a totally clown painter, like people that paint their own house. You know what I mean? Same thing.
Same exact thing, man. But the value behind that, I didn't understand the value of the energy spent, right? Which, again, Dan Martell talks about that. The energy you're spending on a task that's a lower task.
Yeah. And it becomes a habit, right?
Yeah. And you always go right to that first thing. That's the first thing that comes to your mind. Like, oh, I need to produce the job. No, you don't. You just need to plan better and then put your time somewhere else.
It's like the dad that could be chilling with his family on a Sunday but decides to mow his lawn and, you know, do some other stuff that he could pay a mechanic for on his car instead of spending time with his family. And, you know, if you have hobbies and interests and that interests you, sure. But I think for me personally, family and fun stuff, activities is way more important.
Dude, think about it. In my opinion. In our world, brother, this is how cool it is. If I have, and I've changed my mind, right? I wasn't always like this. I was super cheap. I still kind of cheap, but my mind in sales kind of shifted though.
Yeah.
If I have $1,000 expense right now, let's just say something pops up and I have to spend $1,000, I go, great. I don't go, oh man, I need to save money. How do I get $1,000 saved? Right. I go, what can I sell for $3,000 or $4,000 to make up for the $1,000 expense and give me more money just because that's where my brain has been wired to.
Right.
So instead of going, I need to save that money, I go, where can I make that money up? And when you change your mindset to that and you go, okay, well, I have a couple services I can promote, or if I have a painting company, maybe I sell 2 more jobs, right? Or maybe I work on selling something else. Maybe I have old stuff in my house I need to get rid of to make up for that expense, right? Like there's just so many different ways you can go at it without saying, oh my God, I can't pay that $1,000.
Right.
Right.
Damn. Do you want to hear a real life example of what we're talking about right now? So, I am looking into, because I'm on a content like kick. Like, I have an editor on my team, and she's just begging me, Aiden, more content, more content. I paid an agency for them to chop up all my long form, right? Just because I just want it, just to have it at any time I can post and kind of just keep the momentum going. And it's been a kind of a struggle with everything going on and trying to continue to build both businesses, that I haven't been making enough time for content. And luckily, my wife is a stay-at-home, takes care of our son. And recently we've been talking about like, hey, what do you want to do in like life, right? Like, what is the goal? Like, I don't want you, if anything ever happened to me, have to rely on your parents or somebody else. I want you to have your own independence if that ever happened, God forbid. Yeah. And I'm like talking with videographers and photographers to maybe like do some type of package, right? Like come out once a week. We do batch videos. And I told, my wife, I said, why don't you do the content? Yeah. You can do mine. You can do other people's. You can have your own little sessions, right? And, you get good money for that as you get good. So here's the cool thing, and it relates to what we do as far as like coaching and kind of like business in a box, right? It's like literally we're researching the best quick programs, whether it's school, Skillshare, on how to learn like videography and photography and go through like different courses and whatnot. I told her, I said, find the best camera that is like, year proof, meaning like in the next few years, it's not going to be old technology. Like find I don't even care if it's $2,000. Like it's a business investment. All right. We're going to plan this out. I'm going to help you with the packages. I'm going to help you with the branding, all that kind of stuff. I want you to feel so confident about this and like feel so skilled that you're doing my stuff. I saved that money because now she's doing it. She has a career potentially she can do. And we just mapped this out in the last like 2 days. And we're just like, let's fucking go.
That's what it takes.
Dude, it's all out there, right? And that's a reasonable way to say, okay, we're saving money, but we're actually investing in like a business, right? And now it makes sense to make us money. And it's just like the perfect circle.
Same concept, dude. Same concept. And anything could be created out of nothing. That's the coolest part, right? Like, dude, it's wild, man. It's wild. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because it's like that mentality is exactly what everybody needs to have.
Yeah, and we're not chinsing. We're not like, oh, we need to be under $500 for this camera. Like, we're like, look, let's do it right. Let's like actually go out and be like higher end doing this stuff. So we're like researching like different cameras and all that all last night. It was pretty fun.
I love that, because like think about our industry. A lot of guys are getting smart with their content and their painting companies. Guys, you just heard Aiden. Like, if you have your wife as a stay-at-home mom, he just gave you all this opportunity to be like, hey, honey, like, you want to learn another side thing too and help us out with this? Like, it's a win-win. Like,
dude, bring my kid in Orlando. I mean, there's so many content creators and real estate people out here. She could easily make a couple grand a month off of 2 or 3 clients. She has her own car. So, like, it was just the perfect setup, and it's something that she can actually, like, feel good about doing,
Yeah, absolutely.
Just checks all the boxes. Feels so good.
That's awesome, man.
Now we got to implement. We actually got to do it now.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I'm the creative. I'm the planner. I'm like the, you know what I mean? I want to, what's the new cool thing that we can say, I've just planned it all out for you. You go execute. Like, that's me. What role is that? What is that called? Like a marketing something? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, my world, we call that a director. So, like, you're
a director, okay.
Yeah, like, you're the directive, right? Like, you're like, okay, let's do this, boom, 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 now go execute it. Yeah. That's just your pure leadership style. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah, like, I love, like, okay, here's what I see for you and how you could do it and how it all kind of works. I think that's why I became a coach. Yeah. It's like I see all these other guys, and they're like, here's my situation. How do I make the most out of it? How do I get better? How do I improve? And I'm like, do X, Y, and Z. This will work out. And they're like, oh shit, it works.
Too easy.
It's pretty cool.
Too easy,
good,
man.
Love it. Yeah, so got the sales rep coming on. Excited to get things rolling. And here's a cool thing too. You don't just bring on a position like that and do nothing. Some guys will be like, hey, okay, cool, we brought on a production manager or a sales rep, whatever it is, admin, and then they don't make any other changes. We're raising our ad spend. We're making sure that we have the training program kind of laid out for her. We're doing a proper onboarding. We're getting all our documents set up. We're making her feel like this is like an official, which it is. But like there's one thing of saying it and one thing of actually doing it and making it feel that way. So we're making sure there's way more leads, like overcompensating, right? Like I know I'm overspending, but that's okay because I need her set up for success and I just need attempts to be there with her. So curious, you got any advice for me, bro?
Yeah, of course. So how many leads are you trying to give her per week?
Per week, right now we're only doing about 1 appointment a day.
Okay. And is she going to do any kind of lead gen on herself, like self lead gen?
Yes. So she is in a local networking group. And then we also just joined one for Tuesdays. So my goal is she has that one, I believe, on Wednesdays or Thursdays. And then Tuesdays, we could probably alternate.
Nice.
Just because it's a drive, I don't want to put it too much on her.
Yeah, I usually do like a BNI group when they first start, just to be in a network group, get the name out there, get them comfortable talking, and get referrals internally like that. Also recommend doing like Facebook groups. So like have her start looking at local communities that are looking for painters and stuff like that, so she can always plug and play off that. The other thing I do is I actually would have her drive to jobs that are being produced in that moment.
Yes.
And as the job is being produced in that moment, have her follow up with the customer, kind of playing like a mini production essentially, and then see if she can start looking for change orders. So it's another way that I like to get my sales reps to just kind of, when they're first starting, that helps them. So like, I mean, gosh, you could find, like, let's say you didn't do a retaining wall, right? Like you didn't include the retaining wall. Those are kind of like things I would go over a meeting with them and just be like, hey, try to sell this retaining wall. We didn't do garage doors. See if you could sell the garage doors and introduce yourself as so-and-so and do a walkthrough with the owner and look for upsells. That's another way of helping them out to get the sales in. And then, of course, the door knocking at the jobs while they're being produced. We always say go 10 and 10. So while they're being produced, we door knock on 10 houses to the left, 10 houses to the right of the actual house we're producing. So we do that.
This might be limiting mindset, and this is good, right? Because we're going through this with people listening. My gut says, because she's a little bit older, not like old lady or anything like that, but just like more mature, been around 20 years doing this. I don't know if it would fly with the door knocking with her.
Sure, that's okay. You know,
That's
it's
okay.
Yeah, if she doesn't want to do that, again, you can have her just go to the job sites at least, look for change orders. And then
she's all in on that. Like, I think that would be perfect because not only is she, the project consultant now, she's going to also be the interior designer as well.
Yeah,
so she's
got
she can do
so many
both.
opportunities.
Yes. So I was like, I think that kind of thing of upselling will be there, plus the outside sales of her knowing people. That's one of the reasons that I was super excited for her to come on because she is local. She knows the area. She has connections. She worked on high-end closets for a long time. So she's connected with different firms and knows people. So I'm like, this is just perfect. She's going to slay.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, dude. Scrub lists, right?
Yeah.
See if you can get some lists that she can scrub through, scrape through.
She'll call. She'll email for sure.
Hell yeah. Now, obviously,
the heat out here would be.
Yeah, once you guys are more established, then I would have her do like what we were talking about. Yeah, the last pod was like reactivation, is what Nick called it. I go years back and I make all my sales reps start calling those lists to just revive certain things. So I love the fact that he called it reactivation because I've never heard of it like that. We just do callbacks, right? It's just the sales thing that we do. So as you guys start to build out the business, then she'll have more of a list to start calling as well. And then, of course, your regular advertisement. I advertise everywhere. So I use Angie, Thumbtack, Facebook, Google, anything that you can start building up and going from there,
Yeah, and I also kind of dropped some stuff for anybody that's looking to be in this position, right? Like we were setting her up for an advanced training on DripJobs,
Yep.
just to make sure she's fully understanding of that software. Also, my admin is going to be making Loom videos on just some of the
Yeah.
typical tasks that we'll do day to day, right? And how we kind of operate. I'm going to be getting her cards, uniforms. Tomorrow I'm going to be giving her like our magazines that we give in person, kind of like the company manual, so she can give out at her networking event. So, but I told her, I said, hey, like, you're grabbing this by the horns. We're going to be training for about 6 weeks. After that, like, you're on your own. It's commission. You already know the numbers. And I was like, I want you to call me and say, hey, there's an event, a home show. We're going. Here's how much it is. Done.
Yep.
How can
Home
I
shows
support
are
you?
great too, dude. Good thing you mentioned that. Like a home show would be awesome. And then have her man it, right? So like she's the one that's introducing herself, collecting the lead, and then being able to help out. And maybe she could even do virtual ones, like you teach her how to do a virtual estimate on the spot, maybe close some on the spot as well. But yeah, trade shows, dude, those are like,
Pair
those
that
are
with a
valuable.
giveaway.
Yep.
Money.
All day.
That's good,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Also, I talked to her a little bit about content. I'm like, what do you think about like hopping in front of a camera? I think that's important for like, you know, the customers and whatnot, so they know who they're seeing. And she was like, we'll see. Maybe because it's early on, you just want to make sure, you know, there's life there and we can run with it. But I'm cool with doing that for now. That's my thing. You know?
Good. Yeah.
I'll hop right in front of a camera. I don't care. Mm-hmm. You know what I was also thinking about, bro? That I think is pretty. I know a lot of entrepreneurs watch this show and think about like, all right, how can I take calculated risks in my life?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And obviously, I'm fortunate to have, you know, certain people around me to help me if anything ever went wrong. But like, I think about it and I say to myself, because I'm so bold in everything I'm doing, and same with you, right? Like, you do these things, whether it's new opportunities, businesses, ways of running your business, leveling up, investing money, you learn in that process. You become more resilient. You understand, you know, different aspects of the business and how it all interacts. You understand your kind of risk management when you're going and doing these things and knowing how to like, all right, cool, I can stick to the numbers and game plan in order to be way more, you know, have a better chance of success, right?
Yeah.
If ever anything were to ever go wrong, and this is why I keep telling like my family and my wife and all, like I need to keep swinging for the fences, because if let's just say everything went to shit, painting company went to shit, lost money, Paint Pro coaching failed, blah blah. Because I am so equipped now with this knowledge and the understanding of how things work, and because I in that journey became such a leveled up person, and you talk about this a lot, like the journey and whatnot. Now I can go and do other things that most people can't apply for or get into. Like my experience outweighs somebody with a bachelor's or even a master's, because it's like you've been there, you've done it, you're resilient. Sure, you can sell for me right now. Come into my organization, be a production manager, sell, make 80K right off the jump. Right? It's like, because that's my floor now, I need to be swinging for the fences.
Yes.
I'd be selling my family short if I wasn't reinvesting money. And like, I was telling somebody the other day, like, I've been broke before. I'm okay with getting back to that spot if I know that I tried everything I could to be successful, right, and to make it.
Yeah.
I just thought that was pretty cool.
I love that you said that. I'm going to add to that real fast.
Mm-hmm.
I try to go broke as quickly as possible. And the reason why I say that, like this whole coaching thing, dude, I've invested thousands of dollars. Thousands. Like I wish I would say hundreds.
Amen.
Thousands. Thousands of dollars. So I'm like, how do I set up my people for success? I need to have the people that know what they're doing to teach me to do what I have to do to be the best at what I do. Right? Now, I know how I feel about coaching. I never created a coaching program, though. Ever. And I wasn't trying to figure it out either, right? Like, so I spent thousands of dollars there. I spent thousands of dollars in personal development, right? And then I spent thousands of dollars in my businesses. I still do. Like, I don't sit here with like this money in the bank, all like, yeah, I'm doing good. In fact, I do it on purpose, and that's something that my mentor taught me. When we do profit sharing, he's like, spend it already. So when we talk about next year's goals, we're like, where are you putting your money?
Yeah.
Like, don't hold on to it. Where's it going? Right? It was scary, dude. Like when I bought my house 2 years ago here in San Diego, it's not cheap here, dude. It is stupid expensive. Like, it's disgusting if I told you what my mortgage was, and it's a townhome, right? But again, it's an investment, it's an asset, it's an appreciating investment for me.
Yep.
And if I would have kept renting, I would keep losing money. So this is the risk that I was taught, that just keep putting your money out there. It will make you more money. And it's just something that we don't talk about. And here's the cool part that you're talking about: the floor has been risen, right? That if everything got taken away from you, you've put your back against the wall so many times that it's too easy for you to go. And I always teach everybody this. It's not about how you fall. It's about how fast you get back up, how the bounce back rate is. When someone says, oh, dude, I fell off my eating plan. Great. When did you get back on it? Oh, it only took me 24 hours. Great. Don't sit there and dwell on it for 6 weeks, right? And continue taking poor habits. Get back on it. The faster you get back, the better you are. And that's how I measure people. If you can bounce back from a bad habit, that's more important than anything else. I measure that. It's when you stay too long in that mentality. So based on what you just said, you could easily lose everything and be like, poor me.
Right.
And just sit there and be like, I just need to go get a regular job, and then piss and moan about it the whole time. Or you could be relentless and be like, I'll figure it out again like I did before. That's what I heard you say.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think a lot of guys don't think that way. Even when I look at their business and I'm like, why aren't you spending more? Like, the numbers say it. That I just mapped it out for you. Here's how much you need to spend in order to make what you want to make. Yeah. But you're playing small. You're thinking small. You're not taking the risk, and you're not getting the reward. And you will continue to not get the reward unless you change that mindset, right? So just, again, David Rule, the guy that, talking about with Kevin Turner and whatnot, he goes, doesn't feel good to spend the money. Like, it sucks. You see it coming out of the account. It's not good. You see the transaction, you're like, shit. But the return on that is huge. And when you do that and and you stick by the numbers and say, hey, it's part of the game, it'll come back and whatnot. Now it's like, okay, this is what I have to do. And then you see the results and you're like, shit, thank God I did that. So a lot of these guys, they are equipped. They're doing 6, 7, 800,000, and they're still playing small, but they know they can work as a sales rep or a production manager at any time for any company, be totally successful, have a decent house, and be fine, and then reset if they need to. But they're playing small, and they're stuck. It's tough. It's a tough spot, and I think people need to wake up from that,
Yeah, dude. Time's going to go by no matter what. So I'm not going to play small in my life anymore, right? And that's how I am. Dude, there's times now, like, and I'll say it quick because I know we're wrapping up soon, but, like, people don't realize, dude, like, half time I don't even get paid because I prioritize my partners. I prioritize my people, right? It's like, that's how all in I go in the projects like this. Started a new company in Florida. I probably won't get paid all year. That's okay.
Yep.
Because it's healthy. It's set up for success. They're going to win, and then I'll get paid. Period. Right? So, guys that are solopreneurs, man, you got to really start thinking about what that future looks like and how you're going to invest in that.
Yeah.
Because that's really the game, man. You got to put the money in, got to work it, and then pay attention to the profits. Do not ignore the numbers, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah. Like, think about, like, with this whole sales rep, right? It's like training pay, increase ad spend, new iPad, marketing material, clothes. Like, I had to figure out what that was going to be and commit to it and say, okay, it's part of the process. And it might not work out.
Yep.
We might come back on the pod 2 months and I might say, hey, I'm resetting with the sales rep.
Yeah.
That's okay, though. I have to keep continuing to do that. Like, that's just the journey. That's the game. And if you're thinking negative and you're saying to yourself, like, oh, well, why would I do it? Because it's just going to end up like it was before. It's not about that. It's about you continuing, because once it does hit, it's going to hit hard, and you're going to be good, and you're going to be thankful you made the decision, right? I think Rick Ross said that. He said, I can get knocked down like 99 times, but that one time that it works, let me tell you something. Everybody going to know, and it's going to change everything. So I love that thought process.
Yeah, man. I love it too, dude.
Then you pair that with like some investing in the stock market, putting some money away every single month and just not worrying about it. Now you have a baseline for retirement. you're just risking it,
Yeah.
calculated, of course, right? That's why you hire us to kind of game plan with you. But
100%. We
it's a
should
good
probably do an
feeling.
episode about that because, like, no one talk lately. I've been talking about life insurance. I've been talking about a lot of other things with my
It's good.
clients, and everyone's like, "Oh, so do you do it?" I'm like, "No, I don't sell it. I'm just telling you it's good for you."
Yeah,
Like, I'm not trying to learn a whole nother new thing. I just know that I hired someone to set me up for success, so that if something happens to me, my family's taken care of, which is important. A lot of us don't talk about that. So
I think I just commented on. I think Brad Ellison put a post with like Nick Slavic, like what's the most under talked about thing in the industry or something like that, or needs more light. And I said financial, financial education, right? Like understanding the finances behind things that would help a lot of families, right? Like a lot of people are going up and down their business, not sure why, don't know how to game plan things, and it's like it's affecting their family. It's not giving. They're like, oh, I'm gonna start this business. I have this big endeavor, and hopefully it pays off. But the numbers aren't right. The numbers aren't adding up. They're not sticking by the game plan, and then their family is like losing trust in them, and it's getting into the marriage. That's a tough spot to be,
facts, dude. They're buying $80,000 rigs, $100,000 truck.
Right.
It's like, dude, you don't need that.
Not
Like,
knowing if it's a good investment or not.
yeah, I mean, like, dude, I don't even own a car, like on purpose. Like my businesses do, right? But I don't.
Yeah.
Like, it's done for a reason. Like, I don't own anything. I try to not own anything, and people don't understand that. But yeah, I think that's an episode we could.
Oh, dude, let's do it.
On. That'd be
We'll
cool.
put on the agenda.
Yes,
But,
sir.
All right, bro. I do want to end with my own quote, if that's okay.
Yes. Let's go. Yeah.
I actually posted on my Instagram last night. I was in the gym, I was in the sauna, and I was just really feeling it, man. And I'm just like, man, like the one thing that you need to do for yourself is consistency, because let's just say you go to the gym or do anything for a good 4 to 6 months and then you stop for 4 to 6 months. You just wasted time. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough pill to swallow. And I'm not going to lie, for certain things, that's me, Like, even to this day, there's certain things that I do for a while, and then I stop, and I'm, like, kicking myself. Hop back on the horse, and it's just like, there's things I'm good with, but there's also things I could be a lot better with. So here's my quote for the day. You either commit to success or you commit to failure, but either way, you commit. So I don't know if I made that up. I don't know if I got that from somewhere, but it just hit me one day when I'm in the sauna, and I'm like, this is it. I'm going to live by this.
Yo, send that to me, man. Yeah. I like that one, dude. That's dope.
Good.
Yeah, man.
Cool,
I'm
man.
going to write that on my wall. That's a good one. Because, like,
Yeah.
you know what? I ain't going to say nothing about it. Let that stew in everybody's head. And let's talk
sir.
about that quote next time.
Cool, man. Well, always a pleasure. See you on the
Likewise,
next one, and
Yes,
go
sir.
crush the week.
Yep. You too.
All right, brother. Thanks, everybody.